Yeah, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. This is Dr. Srinivas. I'm a professor in a university, and at the same time, I have some 13 years of experience in teaching management subjects. So I done my LLB, Masters in Human Resource Management, MPhil, and PhD. So this labor laws and labor welfare is one of the main subject in human resource management. So I done my MPhil and PhD in human resource management. Long back I passed LLB and I also qualified All India Bar examination as well. One thing I understood here, the problem come crossing by the students pursuing law is they not have a proper easy material, okay, and at the same time one thing I observed is that many people have a lot of passion in doing the law and knowing the law. People who are doing business and people who are in their own profession, okay, are doing the law in our Telangana and Andhra universities, and at the same time in many universities across the states in India. Much of my attention is to make you to understand this law subject very easy, and not only my lectures will prepare you for the examination, and my lectures also helpful to you for the law students, okay, to build up your career in the legal profession. As you been aware, the eligibility for doing law is somebody have to pass a degree in any subject. So degree qualified students have to go for 3 years law, and students who completed their intermediate have to go for 5 years degree law. Okay, so there are two types of entrances. Every state will conduct a law set. Through that you can able to join in any that university affiliated colleges and as well as the university colleges. And then another one, the premium entrance is CLAT, CLAT CLAT. So CLAT is a very premium and something toughest entrance. More or less it is equal to CAT. So students who completed their intermediate, who have a passion of coming into this legal profession, have to appear for CLAT. Okay, so I try to give the lectures for the students who are going to write this CLAT entrance also in the coming days. But let me start with the lectures for the already joined students in their respective subjects. Today I was in front of you in dealing with the subject labor and industrial law. So I observed that syllabus of this law is more or less equal in all the semesters. Okay, there might be a little bit of variation, but we teachers try to cover something more than the syllabus only, okay, so that it will helpful for your career in the law also. So today I was in front of you dealing with the subject labor and industrial law in that. So I pick up the topic like wages, okay, classification of wages. Also we call it as a types of wages. There are 3 types of wages, that is minimum wage, fair wage and living wage. Okay, so this is decided by the legislation, of course. So minimum wage is a statutory wage, I can say. Means every entrepreneur, every employer has to pay mandatorily this minimum wage to the workers. Then after that, the fair wage is little superior than the minimum wage, and the living wage is a very attractive and lucrative wage, okay, for the employees. Any employer who is unable to pay minimum wage, he not have a right to do the business. Okay, and if you are not paying minimum wage to the labor or employees, I can say labor and employee synonymously we will use the words. Okay, so labor is a more dignified word actually. Yeah. So if any entrepreneur or a businessman is unable to pay the minimum wage, he not have a right to do the business, and he can be penalized by Minimum Wages Act 1948. Okay. Now, how these wages are classified and what factors will influence the employer to pay the wages, okay, under this three classification of wages. So employer will consider the needs of the workers. What are the necessities of the workers? They take that into consideration, and that is one of the deciding factor how much we have to pay to the worker. But one thing you should not forget that, okay, irrespective of the need and all these things, minimum wage as mentioned by the government, that we have to pay. Okay, so more regarding this we will discuss in the coming sessions, but let us pay attention on the classification of the wages in this first session. Capacity of the employee to pay. Yeah, I wrongly used the word here, employee. It is employer or employer. Okay, employer means the management and the entrepreneur. Okay, so how much wages the management have to pay to the worker, it also depends upon the capacity of the employer. Sometimes we see some entrepreneurs, some businessmen, some companies are deep in pockets and they can able to pay very lucrative wages. So that's the reason capacity of the employer is also one of the factors. Now TCS, Wipro, Google, Microsoft, they may pay very good wages to the employees. Okay, yeah, so that's the reason capacity of the employer is also very, very important. And the general economic conditions prevailing in the country or prevailing in the world. What is general economic conditions? General economic conditions is like, okay, so how much the employer can able to pay depends on some factors. So the important factor is capacity of the employer to pay. So just I mentioned a few examples, like companies whose pockets are deep, they can able to pay very good salaries, wages to the employees. Okay, so that's the reason capacity of the employer is also very, very important. And another one is general economic conditions prevailing in the country. Yes, now in this pandemic time, okay, corona pandemic time, there is no businesses for entrepreneurs, okay, and at the same time there is no demand for the goods. So because of this reason, employers could not able to pay. Okay, so are you understanding? So that is one of the reason. Same is the case, for example, we come across a recessions. Okay, recession means like for continuous 4 quarters economy is not doing good. Okay, for every 3 months we call it as a quarter, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. Continuously for 3-4 quarters economy is not doing good, we call it as a recession. Okay, so that we experienced in 2008, all the IT people will lose the jobs and so many people in the working in private sectors will lose the job. So that is called general economic condition. When the economy is not good, even the entrepreneur also could not able to pay the good wages to the employees. So my intention here is that what factors will influence on the wages. Okay, that is. Now as I mentioned, more details about this living wage is highest standard of wages that I mentioned in green color. That's the reason. Okay, fair wage is in between the minimum wage and the living wage. Okay, minimum wage is the lowest standard of wages. Minimum Wages Act 1948 is telling that every entrepreneur have to pay at least the minimum wages. Okay, and at the same time, one thing you students have to know, this living wage and fair wage is acquired by the efforts of the workers through their unions. Okay, you know, collective bargaining, the word itself is telling very simple, collective and bargaining. For example, you students want to have a farewell party tomorrow, so you don't want class post lunch. So what you will do, if 1 and 2 students go to the principal, and if you ask the principal, okay, so he may not agree for your grievance. So if all the class, entire 50, 100, 50 students will, or a group of students, some 20 students, 30 students, 10 students will go into the principal's room and ask and express your grievance that, sir, we don't want class today afternoon because we have a tomorrow farewell party, we have to make some arrangements like this, then it is possible. So what I am trying to tell it is, workers also to inform their voice, to raise their voice in front of the management, collectively they will bargain with the management. Okay, so here there are, workers will have trade unions. Okay, the trade union leaders will represent on behalf of the large number of workers. Okay, so a trade union voice is nothing but the voice of the large number of the workers, nothing but. So when they collectively bargain with the management, then management will come down and management will get convinced, and they will, are you understanding, and they will pay the wages above than the minimum. Okay, so this living wage and fair wage is the efforts of the workers, okay, in the form of strike and in the form of amicable discussion, in the form of meeting with the management, they could have been acquired this living wage and fair wage. So actually every entrepreneur wants to maximize his profit, optimize his profit and minimize the cost. Okay, in the process that every entrepreneur wants to exploit the labor, exploit the employees by paying the less wages. Until unless you collectively bargain, you will not be given this living wage and fair wage. So that is my intention here, to make you understand what is collective bargain. It is a very good legal word in this what is a labor laws subject. Okay, trade unions always collectively bargain with the government, with the management and all these things. Okay, so some definition like information regarding this living wage. Okay, so this living wage is a very good wage that it will improve your standard of life. Okay, in which sense means, because living wage is a very very good salary, I can say, so you can able to have a access to good food, and you can have a good shelter, and you can have a good clothing, and you can go for a good medical care, and we can give a very good education for our children also, since we are getting a very good salary. So that's the reason living wages will increase the standard of life of the people, and it will give you a status in the society. Okay, yeah. And this living wage will also give us some very good comforts in the life, very good comforts in the life, in the sense that you can save something even after meeting all your bare necessities, even health and education for your children and all your domestic needs, still you can able to save some amount for your old age. Okay, so you can have a more disposable income, and you can save for the evil days in the sense like that, for the bad days. We may come across some problem in the family, we may come across some, now this pandemic is like situation, we are getting 50% of salary, so like that, for any okay, unforeseen circumstances also you can able to sustain. Okay, are you understanding, without the wages? Why? Because you already saved a very good amount. Why? Because you got a living wage, okay, previously, so that you can able to save some amount, so that you can able to meet your old age expenses, at the same time your evil days. So that's what tells you the significance, the importance of the living wage. Okay, so living wage is higher than the fair wage, okay, as per the order. Okay, so it will provide the bare essential necessities, plus it gives a very good comfort in our life. Okay, yeah. And fair wage stands between the living wage and the minimum wage. Okay, it is comes in between. Okay, the payment of fair wages to labor is one of the cardinal recommendation of ILO. Yeah. So what is ILO? Is International Labour Organization. International Labour Organization. So what International Labour Organization means? UNO, United Nations Organizations. Okay, it is an apex level international body which always works for the international peace and security. Okay, so UNO will have some other bodies, organs, okay, to address the different problems of the people in the world. For example, to address the health of the people, to protect the health of the people, are you understanding? We have a WHO, World Health Organization. In this pandemic time, everybody know what is WHO. Like that, ILO is one organization which always works for the interest of the labor, which always works for the interest of the workers. It will protect the employees from the exploitation of the managements, from the exploitation of the capitalist, from the exploitation of multinational companies, even from the exploitation of the public sector. So more or less, employer, managements, public sector, multinational companies, there is a chance that they will exploit the workers. So it will always works for the interest of the labor, and it will protect so that it will be protected from the exploitation of the managements. So that is, ILO is a very apex level international body, which works for the best interest of the workers. Yeah, so today we will stop here. Okay, for more information regarding this topic, I can say, and regarding these subjects, I will do much more videos, and I will try to cover the entire syllabus in the coming sessions. Okay, please subscribe this channel by pressing the bell button. Okay, I will back in the next session. This is Dr. Srinivas. Thank you so much.